All right. Um, yeah, there's no preamble and it goes on YouTube, so I don't even get to stall for time. Hello, all you crazy unshavenauts. Welcome to episode 8 of the Unshaven Rant-Cast. I am your host, the well-bearded Mark Allen Fishman. I am joined today with my brothers from other mothers, the incomparably fully bearded Kansas City Chiefs center, Matt Wright.
Hey, first off, he has a bigger beard than me. But and no, actually, no, he doesn't. The Kansas City Center has like no beard. He looks like a baby-faced pig.
Here's what I know. And the always ironed stubbled quarterback of the Miami Dolphins, Kyle Nepper.
They are my pick for the next year, whatever that is. I've lost track. Time is meaningless. I'm going to say 2029.
You heard it
You know
here,
what? At the
folks.
rate they're going, yeah, sure.
Miami Dolphins
Why not?
2029. Put your bet in now. Thank Kyle later.
You know,
All right.
that's somebody's gonna knock that and be like 2029 if we're still doing this. Be like, Kyle's pick sucked.
How did he know? Yeah.
Miami sunk into the ocean in 2027. What the hell?
No, no, Kyle doesn't get another fucking redo with how he did it with the X-Men articles and the movies. That was a fluke.
I don't even remember. Did I predict something? I don't remember.
Yeah, the last couple of X-Men movies, from like First Class to I just forgot the name of the second movie.
Dark Phoenix?
No, there was one in between. There was First Class, and then there was the time travel one where Wolverine went back in his old body.
Yeah. Oh,
Days of
Days of
Future
Future
Past.
Past.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the
Only the
I
most
think
famous goddamn story they've ever done.
right. But I believe Kyle actually predicted it when First Class came out. Like after we saw it, he wrote a whole article when we were
Oh
writing
yeah, I said they
articles
were
on
going to do
our own
like every
website, and then
decade.
yeah, and like immediately they did that, and Kyle was just the cock of the walk, which is like, I am a golden god predicting everything.
Yeah,
Feels good to be right.
Never mind the plot holes. Just
Yeah.
everywhere.
Plot holes unimportant. I predicted they would follow decades. I also predicted that Captain America Civil War would outdo Batman versus Superman. So at the very least, I can make accurate movie predictions.
That's a low
Let's
bar.
let
That was a low.
Yeah, but this was like 2 years ahead of time. This was like
Mm,
when release dates were announced and nothing else. So low
how do
bar,
you know
maybe,
that
but
name? Martha.
who could have predicted that? Uh, yeah, let's see if my predictions spread into Super Bowl picks.
There you go. So once again, the 2029 Miami Dolphins. Put your money down. All right, welcome to the Rantcast. I'm going to pause here for 5 seconds while I queue up the Unshaven News plug. See, now by making noise, you've ruined the silence, so I don't know
No.
where to put it in. But we're on YouTube, so I can't even get mad now.
Right. It's going to be 5 minutes of silence of you and Kyle doing basically like
I mean,
doing this like
our YouTube subscribers, it's what they want. It's what they demand. Jazz hands.
All three of them.
Yeah, I haven't done a subscriber count, but 3 sounds good. All right. So Unshaven News. First off, we have applied to the Cherry Capital Con, the Motor City Con, and Baltimore. All 3 of those shows have taken our application, but have yet to tell us we're in. So if you're a fan and you want to yell at them to accept us, we're telling you this is the time.
Yeah, that's what we need. Angry fans trying to tell people to give us some space.
I mean, be polite about
really,
it, but
I thought we got into Baltimore.
we applied for it, but much like everything else, they said, thank you very much. We will be in touch.
Yeah.
Which
That sucks because I think I already submitted my vacation approval for that, which got approved, but that's
I mean,
I can always cancel it. It's that far out. It's nothing like
I have to think we have a pretty decent shot.
hope so.
Yeah,
We'll
that's all I
see.
can do. And I've been very complimentary on all of their message boards. They just put up on Facebook, what is your favorite Baltimore Comic-Con memory? And I had to place that video clip of the kids.
Mm.
Because how could you not? That was the one year Kyle didn't. You were in Cincinnati for that one?
When you went to Baltimore?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was good at the Cincinnati Con with the original artist from The Walking Dead.
Yeah. Good
I
times.
still have
Good times.
I still have the signed shotgun shell casing I got for buying a premium vendor spot.
Well, there you go.
Nice.
So really, the only other Unshaven news we are 100% for sure going to be a part of Indie PopCon that is coming up the exact same weekend as C2E2, but in the fine city of Indianapolis. Unshaven Comics is trying a whole bunch of new things there this year, including staying at an Airbnb instead of a hotel. Should be an interesting time.
If
Come
somebody
out of
comes
our
in,
rubes and robes and just be like, where's the free continental breakfast? You got to make it yourself. This is hogwash.
yeah,
It's a whole
this
apartment
is-
by ourselves, Kyle.
We'll see.
What are you expecting?
I am skeptical of Airbnb. We'll see.
Why? Have they done you wrong?
Yeah, I'm curious. Let's pick this scab open. Kyle, what did they do to you?
Nothing to me. Just read some stories
Oh,
about
hurt
people
you.
getting robbed or getting tricked or getting their stuff shown up or stolen, or even people who like see the owners just come waltzing in while they're staying there. It's like, oh yeah, I'm going to be here too. I just need to do these things, but you can pretend I'm not here, which is weird at best. I'm sorry for people who want to do Airbnb. Great for you, but I prefer having a place that at least has some sort of written obligation that they got to follow rules or there will be, actual consequences like hotels.
Mm.
You didn't think to bring this up when I was shopping that around to everybody?
I thought this was all taken into account already.
No, I didn't know about any of those horror stories, but yeah, I guess we'll roll them bones and see what happens.
I was gonna say, because my only experiences with Airbnb is going to Florida, and apparently the house next to my sister's is used as an Airbnb, which is incredibly convenient, especially when we're having a large family gathering instead of commuting back and forth. Like, it's literally right next door. So and I've had positive experiences. Well,
we'll hope. And obviously, I think the biggest news of this whole con, and we haven't even done it yet, is that Kyle Nepper will return to Carrabba's.
Oh, I've missed it so much.
For those who don't know, as we should be inviting new fans into the lore of Unshaven Comics, Kyle is what you would call an anti-culinarian, in that if we declared from here on out it was peanut butter sandwiches at every con, he would be so excited.
It'd just be so simple.
But there is a restaurant in the United States of which Kyle, for whatever reason, just absolutely loves, and that is Carrabba's Italian Grill.
I love one dish. I love one dish that they produce.
Have you had other dishes there?
Chicken marsala.
Yes. We had something there once, and the waiter insisted over and over that I try something different. And I did, just so they would stop, and I was very unhappy with it. I don't remember what it was. It was a beef dish, and I did not like it. And I was not happy with it. And I did not get to have what I wanted that night. So yeah, the chicken marsala with fettuccine noodles on the side and a Caesar salad is all I ever want from them, and truly all I want out of life.
There you have it. That should be interesting. I haven't been to Indy in a while, and I was very sad when I start to look for some of our old haunts that we might frequent, and they're all gone.
The
whole city has turned over like a restaurant in the morning.
I was sad to hear that the Irish place we used to go to is gone.
The Clatta is gone. Don Pablo's is gone.
McNiven's is gone.
Is Burritos as big as your head still there?
I don't know.
We'll have to find out.
I don't know.
Look into that.
McAllister's is, from what I saw online, is still there. At least at the one corner that we used to eat at in the South Side. The Rathskeller. The Rathskeller is still there.
That better not go away. That's like a landmark.
That's an institution.
Yeah. It's where I proposed to my wife.
I will say, they're left to my own devices. Oh, that's what fell over. It was one of my little figures. Anyway, left to my own devices. I was gonna try a hole-in-the-wall German style restaurant off of, was it Washington Avenue, Washington Boulevard
I don't know.
over there, and I did not get a chance to do that. So I know Mark, you're doing dinner with the fam one night.
We'll see, but probably. My whole family is going to come with us to the con in a separate vehicle, and I think it would be uncouth of me, but I did also think about this out loud. I don't know if that's even going to be possible because by the time we might get out of the con on one of those nights, they might have already eaten. So we may go eat and I'll go stop by and say hi. Kyle's face lit up. What's going on, Kyle?
La Bamba's still there.
All right.
I just checked their website. So, Matt, if you want to get a burrito as big as your head, it's in the cards.
You know, 20-year-old Matt Wood, 42-year-old Matt is looking at that going like, it's a lot of toilet time.
It is. And I'm sorry to break into our podcast, which will likely be published later this week. We are recording on Super Bowl Sunday. Congratulations to the San Francisco 49ers for winning
No.
22-19. They win by a field
Yes.
goal.
Good for them.
Yes. Oh, sorry. And a little bit more news. Taylor Swift is going to be releasing an album against them. So
Yes.
there you go.
Yes. For those that didn't know, I am pretty sure they could guess who my pick was. Not that I am a San Francisco's 49ers fan per se, but I rather wanted them to win than the Chiefs.
Well, there you go. Congratulations. I'll also plug shamelessly. Tonight is brought to you by Sparkling Ice Starburst, the only soda pop with 0 calories and tastes like a Starburst.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, cross promotion. It works. So there's really no other Unshaven news beyond that. Kristen, no. Stephanie Mitted is still plugging away at Rage of Repsimian, which is awesome. I'm going to be setting a date here now that it seems like we might have turned past winter's edge. So we'll be taking the photo shoot for the next To the Max. And I do believe, Matt, you must be on page 11, 12.
No, I was on 13, round and 14. I did have a little bit of a stoppage this week. Day job got in the way on that one. I had two night work days and then a third one that I did not anticipate that kind of came up and really robbed me of a night that I was really looking forward to kind of making some headway on some stuff. And then I had my other job on the other on Fridays and Saturday night. Let's see, coming up this week, I have Monday night. I will be going downtown to do some night work, and then there'll be another day in the week, I believe, as well. But I'm hoping I can get two days back into it. We're really picking up on my day job, and it's just even I just got a new boss, and even our new boss is just plain out admitted, like, wow, you guys are in this shit. Like, we're just overwhelmed. So
that's where you at.
For any new listeners, I do apologize for any swearing ahead of time if there's any kids.
I would have said that maybe we got like 4 minutes in before you dropped the F-bomb, and then Kyle dropped a GD right after. So it is an X-rated. We're an all ages brand, but sometimes
we're not X-rated. Not X-rated.
Well, if Kyle would put his shirt back on.
This
we're on
is
YouTube. They can see.
I know it's a YouTube. I can't use any of these jokes anymore. Kyle, do you have the D6?
I do.
Ooh.
All right. Well, then everyone prepare for 5 seconds of uninterrupted jazz hands while we load up the Unshaven Views. Okay. That should be enough time. Kyle, roll that D6.
I put the mic real close to where I'm rolling it to see if we can pick up the noise this time.
ASMR, do it. It didn't pick
up at all?
No,
Nothing
Wow,
at all.
it was
Nothing.
pointed. The tip of the mic was pointed right at the
they must
dial.
have filters for pops and stuff. I don't know. What did it come up with?
Maybe 6.
That's me. Okay. Let's do the lighthearted stuff first. I would like to review The Boys Gen V. So
Truly a lighthearted choice. Continue.
Yeah, I'd say I've got 2 other items. One is also happy, and then one is kind of not. So, The Boys Gen V. First of all, the Boys, we're talking about the Amazon show. I think is as good an adaptation as you could ask for in the way in which they built it. I really enjoy Anthony Starr as Homelander. I think I couldn't envision another actor in that role. I think he's really encapsulated it super well. I personally don't like Giancarlo Esposito having to be a bad guy in yet another. Like, I hope he's got like an extra wing on his house for every time that guy is a bad guy. But I've
He
enjoyed the
does it
show.
so well.
He does, but we're getting to the point that he's playing it in everything. It's a little too much. But Gen V is this offshoot. I don't think there's a comic or anything around it, is there?
No, there wasn't an offshoot. There was a team, and I don't remember what they were called, but they were essentially like the X-Men in the universe for the Boys that like had a whole frat house thing going on. So I don't know if
Yeah,
that was what in
it wasn't something. He named some stuff like he really kind of just it was Garth Ennis. Garth Ennis named some things like really tongue in cheek, like the teen team and stuff like that. But I can't remember. I know what you're talking about. I know
Yeah,
I know which one you're talking about.
because
Yeah.
the Wolverine ripoff had like sledgehammers for hands. And all he would say is gonna.
Yeah. Well, that aside, this Gen V offshoot is, I would say that my expectations were basement level low because I thought they had everything going pretty well in the main series. I didn't feel like they really needed to go further than that, but I just happened to have a lull that week. So I turned on the pilot, and admittedly, the show sold me. I enjoyed how they built it. They, once again, it's a lot of disgusting humor and big raunchy violence, but the whole the way in which they built the show off, we actually get a whole extra time with sort of the AOC mutant in that, or the Gen V or whatever you want to call it, the V addicted, or whatever you want to call him, the superhero.
Enhanced. Yeah.
The enhanced, yeah. The one who's like built after AOC, but she can make heads pop. You actually get to understand more what her power set actually is. It's not that she just makes heads explode. That's just how she learned to use her power.
Spoilers.
Whatever. If you haven't seen it by now, I'm sure. Go ahead.
That's how I'm going to say it from now on, by the way. Every time we're on this podcast or vidcast, that's the voice now. Spoilers.
Okay, we'll find a way to make
Continue.
that like a thing. And I won't spoil the rest of the series. Suffice to say, I think it's only 6 or 8 episodes. It's acted pretty well, it's written pretty well, and it ties into the major storyline by the end of it so seamlessly that I think it's actually necessary viewing before they go on with the next season. And it gets a double thumbs up from me. I thoroughly enjoyed it when I truly thought I would not. And
Nice.
I'll say this much too: the lead hero, she has blood-based powers, and they manifest in an absolutely terrible way. But over the course of the series, much like we've seen in other great superhero yarns, she finds ways in which to use her powers in new, effective ways. They're all still very disgusting because, again, she's blood-based, but I've enjoyed it quite a bit. And I'll say they also had a nice spin on the superhero who can shrink and grow with her roommate. She shrinks and grows based on how much she eats or expels.
Okay.
And yeah, she's an interesting character. I'll say they follow a lot along with the whole notion of social media being important as a superhero. It's literally like one of their classes, like how to manage your profile and how to get more people to involve you. And she comes in the series hot, like the trying to have followers and stuff for what she does. And they even find really cool ways to tie in with her storyline, how she ends up working. She does get one of the most disgusting things I've ever seen on The Boys ever. Very, very memorable.
That is a high bar to cross.
It is a high bar to cross, but I will simply say that when you see it happening, it takes 5 seconds for your mind to be like, oh, yeah, no, it's exactly what I think I'm looking at. And I bet you it's going to explode. And boy, howdy does it.
Okay.
So double thumbs up.
Mm.
Roll them toes. Roll them bones.
And fun fact, with the recent death of Andre Braugher, going back to the talk about the, Giancarlo Esposito always playing villains, he is taking over a role that Brower is supposed to play on an upcoming Netflix series. So it looks like it's a murder mystery. So chance he'll be playing a good guy.
Please, oh, please, oh, please, oh,
That'd be
please.
good. Especially because like Brower, especially due to Brooklyn Nine-Nine, really kind of
he played a lot of cops.
He played a lot of cops, but at the same time, like he kind of like I think people saw like he could do like a quirky comedy, / serious kind of cop. So that would be cool if like that's what it was, and Giancarlo's kind of coming in to be like, yeah, I could do that too.
I would love to see it. I've seen behind the scenes with him on Breaking Bad. He's a funny guy, so you never know.
That to me is always the hilarious thing. The best villains are always like behind the scenes. He is the nicest dude.
They're so funny. Yeah.
All right. Next topic.
All right. Number 4.
That's you, Kyle.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna go for the one that's less time sensitive first, just in case this runs long.
Sure.
So Funimation got absorbed and bought out by Crunchyroll.
Yeah, I saw that.
Which is all well and good, and that's fine. But the issue that's come up with a lot of people is there are a lot of people who paid for actual, like, I want to own this and it's on my Crunchy or it's on my Funimation subscription. So when I sign in, I have these seasons or I have these shows. And as everything's getting transferred to Crunchyroll, it's the whole, yeah, but you didn't pay for that with us. So you just have to kick in for that monthly Crunchyroll subscription if you want to keep watching it all. And that is my big fear with streaming services, or the whole pay to own on the website. It's as soon as it changes hands or a bigger fish gobbles it up, you're going to have to pay for it again.
That makes me happy that I don't own anything in that manner, but I do subscribe to streaming platforms knowing.
Well, streaming's different. I mean, streaming, you know what's going on, but it's one of those things where it's like, I'm not buying Apple movies. I'm not paying to own a movie on Amazon.
Right.
Because I really and truly don't feel like something couldn't happen. And then it's like, yeah, you paid for it, but we're changing some things. So that's over now. That's
very
what frustrates me about a lot of this stuff. And I unfortunately am putting myself in place to be victim to it, but I'm at least keeping it cheap. For the second time, the Luddite that I am, I bought a video game and downloaded it. So I'm currently playing Far Cry New Dawn.
Well, I mean, that's the thing though. Like, I know that all the Steam games that I own are saved to my computer locally so that I can still play them if I'm offline. And I would assume if Steam got purchased by somebody else, I still have executable files in a launcher. So I'd be hopeful that I wouldn't lose anything like that. But granted, I'm an old man like you, and I haven't purchased an online video game for Steam or any of those that has been full price ever.
Yeah, my brother does Steam, and he gets anything he wants there, and that's perfectly fine. I basically have gone through and found maybe a half dozen games tops. There's like, these are well reviewed, these are the kind of games that I like, and I basically have an alert going on saying, if any of these drop below $9, ping me and I'll come in and buy it. Until then, no.
I'm with you. I just bought Star Wars Squadrons for $2.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Nope. I bought Far Cry New Dawn, and yeah, fun game. I love open world stuff. I love just I'm gonna collect gear and I'm gonna have all these boxes to tick and places to go and search every corner.
Get that serotonin. But I mean, back to your
Mm.
Funimation thing. Did you own anything on Funimation yourself?
I did not.
Oh, okay.
I came close once because they were the home of Robotech, and that's yeah, yeah. I'm that old. I used to watch when that was on American TV back in 1985.
You're as old as
Fun
us, so
fact.
we know.
Fun,
Yeah, okay.
fun fact. For a brief moment, it actually was on Netflix, like all the seasons,
Ooh.
and I was able to burn my way through all of them, including. Although no, I'm sorry. There was a movie that I had to go hunt down. I think probably through Crunchyroll, but I mean, like I'm talking like seasons 1, 2, and 3. So
Yeah,
from
it's
planes to tanks to bikes.
yeah, it's there's so much that goes on, and a lot of these big companies do buy out the smaller ones. I mean, Crunchyroll is a giant for anime, so this shouldn't be a surprise, and it makes sense. But it sucks to be in a situation, and this happened years ago. I couldn't remember the name with a gun in my head, but there was a manga distributor where it had like an online store and reader, kind of like kind of like Amazon does with the Fire. Or they had their own online e-readers, and the company just went under. And it was the whole there are thousands of people that purchased or bought a digital copy, and now the whole system's going under, so it's all just gone. Sorry.
When the internet gets destroyed by the aliens, you'll love those DVDs you have on your shelf, kids.
Yeah, I mean, physical media is you want to truly own something. Yeah,
It was a lament I had the other day when I realized I don't know if my children will ever go to a mall.
maybe. I mean, they'll have to
Oh
go
my
present
God.
shopping for Mother's Day or something and go to the candle store.
Something to that nature, but like to be
You mean the candle
completely
store online?
I can say with almost 100% sincerity, only one of my children has ever been inside a mall. And I know that I can think of the specific meltdown that resulted in us never taking them back.
Well, Mike, there aren't a lot of malls in my area. I mean, we've got like superstores. We basically have, Meijer, Target, and Walmart in the area that kind of suit those needs. And there's like strip malls where it's like, yep,
But
we're
like
gonna hit up.
physical media, man, I it's scary to think that we may live to see the day that it's just not released.
Hey,
How
look,
close are we on video games?
we're pretty close. Like I
Again, if it's something
when
I
I
cared about, I'm still buying physical media for the games I care about. For
yeah,
other
but I
stuff,
mean like so much of that now though is like it's everything's online. Like I bought, it's no secret. We've in past podcasts, we've shared like what we got the kids, and I let it be known like I got Aiden an Xbox Series X, and he wanted Jedi Survivor, the next Jedi game, and I was like, yeah, you waited, you earned it, I said I would get it, and we got it, and he literally opened up the the packaging, put in the disc. I don't even know if he put in the disc. I don't even know if there was a disc. I want to say like, but I mean, he's putting in the disc for it to tell him to wait while it downloads it from the cloud. And the inner old man in me was just like, why is it not on the disc?
Right.
like 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 come on.
We're getting there. I think on that note, Kyle, if we're good, we'll pass it
Uh,
to Matt for his first.
yeah, Matt.
um I'll make mine the fast one. I'll bring it down slightly, just to honor another fallen actor, Mr. Carl Weathers. The gentleman was fantastic in so many things, and he will be greatly, greatly missed. I think, uh, actually, time-wise, funny enough, he was in those commercials for FanDuel, I believe, with Rob Gronkowski, like coaching him up. And FanDuel did the nice thing when they aired the commercial and everything else. At the end of it, they put, thank you, Carl, and the dates respectively and the whatnot, honoring him
Yeah.
as well. So,
75
uh, yeah, yeah, it's gonna suck. So,
does, but I
From
mean,
Dutch, That's
Still-
his gun.
Yeah. When we get together, two of us have to do a Predator handshake.
There you go.
You son of a bitch.
And I know that neither of you were really big fans, but I did enjoy him on Arrested Development, and I loved that Mitch Hurwitz, the creator, came out this week and said that Carl Weathers' role in that show was his idea. That they had kind of in him for like one episode, and he's a working actor and he wanted money and he wanted to stay on, so he came to the producers and he's like, "I've got a great idea. What if instead of playing this acting coach, I play myself as a desperate actor acting coach, and I'm cheap. I'm so cheap." And the writing room was like, "Oh, we could do a lot with that." So, like, if you've not seen Arrested Development, it's a show that likes to build on jokes and just keep building on top of them. And his character was notorious. I mean, like, if there were copper wire in the wall, you'd see him with a pair of pliers and you see, we're just making a stew. We're making a stew is what we're doing here. As he was
My
training
God.
up, he was training David Cross's character.
I mean, yeah, he was great in so many great things.
Yep.
Obviously, Predator,
Happy Gilmore.
action, Happy Gilmore, Action Jackson,
Rocky. Can't forget that.
Oh
And
my
even
God.
more recently, Mandalorian. He was a
Yeah, oh,
big
yeah.
part of the revitalization.
Oh my Lord, he was so good
He
in
can
that
say
show.
he had a hand in revitalizing the entire Star Wars universe.
R.I.P.
Yep.
Legend.
So, legend he is. So, all right, I believe this means it goes back to Mark.
All right, let's keep things rolling on the depression train. Let's talk about Vince McMahon.
Must we?
Oh.
Must we?
As the resident
Professor-
wrestling fan.
Do we have to let him follow Carl Weathers? Can we do no better?
I mean,
let me.
we got to talk about Professor Touchy.
I want to talk about it in reference to how it's less about him and more about how the WWE is trying a little bit of a shell game right now to try to take the heat off of that. Because how do you separate the WWE from its originator?
You can't. Well, he's not the originator. He just
Yes, he is.
perfected.
WWE was his.
The WWE,
WWF was
while his
dad.
father,
Okay.
Vince Sr., did start the WWF, that was a regional wrestling promotion. It was his son's idea to make a national one and put everybody out of business.
All right. I bow to the man that has more knowledge on that. I just thought it was more of, I thought his dad was the one that was.
His dad was a good guy, and his son is an idiot.
Okay, let's get this over with.
And anyway,
so we know Uncle Touchy's Puzzle Basement. For those not in the know, go look it up. Vince McMahon is a terrible human being who has many allegations out against him, and I hope all of them come to light. I've enjoyed thoroughly some wrestlers coming forward who are both on and off the WWE payroll right now saying, hey, if the 67-page report doesn't peg him, I'll be adding to that. Thank you. And we're talking in the double digits of people who have went to their lawyer and had things started to prepare in case that they need to do this. So the book's coming and it's going to hit them hard. Thank God. Meanwhile, crybaby diaper pants Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who is very angry that his Black Adam turn didn't make the millions upon millions of dollars he thought it would, has cried all the way back home to get himself an actual seat on the board of directors for TKO Entertainment, or whatever they're called. So as a actual member of their board, he forced his way onto WWE Raw, where he has inserted himself into the WrestleMania card. Triple H is actually running the books right now, and he's actually doing a very good job of trying to distract and get as much attention on the product versus his father-in-law. And it's working. Maybe
this time Vince will keep his foot out of it.
No. He's so very
he can't
gone.
even come near it. Yeah.
He was forced by the board to sell all of his shares.
We'll see.
They're scrubbing him off the network.
We'll see.
Yeah, for
People
time.
like Vince don't just retire quietly.
Oh God, no, he's gonna go down with the fire. But suffice to say, WrestleMania is happening in April, and they're doing everything they can right now to draw attention, and they're doing it pretty well. I enjoyed that they did this Thursday press conference thing. It got 100 million hits on YouTube, and I was one of those 100 million. It was a good old school. Roman Reigns comes out and he says, "I'm the champion, and no one's picked me to fight. Grr, grr, grr. And I therefore choose that I will face The Rock." And then The Rock comes out and he's like, "This is fantastic. I want to show all the fans the family tree." And they make this giant Titan graphic of the actual Samoan dynasty that The Rock and Roman Reigns' family is from. And there's like 25 names on this beautiful graphic. And the crowd ain't buying any of it. They are screaming. By the way, this was filmed at the one of the arenas in Las Vegas. Everyone who attended for free. They put this together in 1 week because
Wow.
they needed to. Behind the scenes, because they never showed the crowd. There was about 3,000 people in an arena that would fit 10, all coming in to this presser, and they start screaming against The Rock, saying, "We hate you. We want Cody." And The Rock can't deny the live crowd, so he lays into Cody Rhodes, who then comes out and says, "I won the Royal Rumble, so I don't care what you say. It's my decision. I will face Roman Reigns for the title." And Rock gets right in his face. And, now it's the written BS. And he says something to the effect of, "I respect you, but you understand that your father was a joke. My father was a champion." And then he slaps Cody right across the face. The funniest part of this whole stupid shindig is that Seth Rollins, the other champion, is there too. And I think everybody on the internet said it was akin to watching Homer back into the bushes. Because ain't nobody give a shit about poor Seth Rollins. So
No.
all I can say is I'm a fan of this, but I still do not watch weekly WWE television. And I won't, and I will not watch WrestleMania no matter who's on it, including CM Punk, who can't be because the poor kid's injured. So I'm enjoying the wrestling news at least, and over in my favorite AEW, triple thumbs up for them to continue to have just solid wrestling, very little story, and introducing international people to face their stars in new matches. This past week, I saw a match that I'm actually saving on my DVR for next time Matt can come over, because they got 3 stars from the CMLL, which is the leading Lucha Libre federation in Mexico. They got their top 3 stars to come to AEW for a couple of matches. And I watched a guy face Brian Danielson, a luchador like I've never seen before. He's like a submission master, and he did stuff that I've never seen, which I didn't think could happen. So there's your pro wrestling report for me. Thank you very much. Matt, it's your turn.
No, it's Kyle's turn.
Kyle's turn. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I saw you you were putting stuff and taking stuff away. You hit it.
Oh,
yeah.
No,
I've only got one left. So I don't know if I talked about this already, but basically I have high hopes for season 4 of True Detective.
It started, right?
Yeah, we're 4 episodes in. Episode 5 was on earlier this week. It's usually on Sundays, but they didn't want to compete with the Super Bowl, so they launched it earlier this week. I have yet to watch it because I was bedridden and shivering and unable to be propped up in front of a TV yesterday. So I was so sick I couldn't watch it yesterday. Gonna watch it after this podcast is over. Episode 5. Short season. They're usually about 8, or I think one of them was 10 episodes, but usually closer to 8. This one's only 6. So the first 4 have been good. I mean, there's been a lot of people that have been like, there was some review bombing of this early on. A lot of people think it might be because it's got 2 female detectives this time. I don't know. I hope that's not the
females
case.
As detectives.
Yeah, and one of them's Jodie Foster.
Women can't do jobs. Get back in the kitchen.
Wait, Jodie Foster.
It's Jodie Foster, and man, is she playing an interesting character this season. So
she's not Clarice Starling.
No, not at all. Uh, this season may or may not be leaning more heavily into the supernatural elements.
Hmm.
There's definitely something going on, and I question whether or not it has something beyond. But basically, it's the whole premise takes place in Alaska, in one of those areas that has like nighttime can last like over a week at a time. And just as the sun goes down on the first day, there's a like Arctic like science base going on, parallels to the Thing for anyone who hasn't watching and they fully acknowledge it. But there's basically like 8 guys working at the scientific research base who suddenly one night march out into the ice and all freeze to death. They're they're found by a like local hunter after a delivery guy shows up to drop stuff off for the researchers, and the place is empty, which isn't supposed to happen. They're sequestered. There's a manhunt that goes on and basically finds a mass of their bodies basically frozen in the ice, naked, busted eardrums, scratched eyes, completely naked, with their clothes nicely folded and stacked a few feet away. So it's
And the show's done sci-fi before.
There were implications in the first season. There were some Cthulhu mythos ties in the first season, but a lot of the stuff that happens, the two characters there, it's oh god, who are the two stars there in the first season?
Matthew McConaughey and Woody Harrelson.
Woody Harrelson. Yeah, Matthew McConaughey's character admittedly suffers from occasional delusions, but there's ties. There's a person who the villain refers to himself is referred to as the Yellow King, which is a clear reference to the King in Yellow, which is a big Cthulhu reference, and other references to Cthulhu in that whole thing. And there's a point where they show up to stop him right at the end, and something is supposed to be happening, and McConaughey's character looks up, and there's this very surreal, it's hard to describe, it's sort of like a galactic storm swirling above that something may or may not be trying to come through of, and then suddenly it snaps shut. And it's a question of, did he hallucinate it, or did that really happen? But it's stuff like that, or seeing like whatever the term for birds flying in weird patterns. There's a point in the first episode where you see them flying in what clearly looks like a spiral pattern for a moment, which is also plays big into Cthulhu mythos. There's a lot of stuff that he sees that's outside the periphery where this could be, is it? It's left kind of up to question and interpretation, which I usually prefer. But anyway, this season is leaning a lot heavier on it. So we'll see where it ends. I'm going to watch episode 5 of 6 right after this. Maybe I'll post something on the Facebooks about how I liked it, or how close they are to being able to wrap this up in one more episode.
I guess to say, you're 4 out of 6 in. Are you enjoying it?
Oh, absolutely.
Have they ended a previous season so poorly that it made you think less of the previous episodes?
I dropped out of season 2 after 2 episodes. And again, they went with like big name casting on that season because it was Colin Farrell and Vince Vaughn. So it was big name casting that season. Third season was better. I hear, maybe I'll go back and watch season 2. I hear that the ending was, it was the whole, it's like a good B- season, which is tough after first season was an A+. It's it
happens. I'm a fan of
the sophomore slump.
Sure. Yeah. I'm a fan of Fargo, the series, and that's been up and down season to season. It really depends on your taste. I did watch this past one, and yeah, I don't know. It got a lot of press too. A lot of, John Hamm is a very interesting character this time around. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
Better than the Chris Rock season.
Overall, 4 episodes in, it's been the reason I've enjoyed it is True Detective's done. The one thing I always ask out of shows is, no matter what's actually going on, make it about the people. That's always been what reels me in. If you make it about the people, it'll be good storytelling, and I'll watch.
Drive the characters, not the plot.
Mm-hmm.
Makes sense.
All right. I think that puts us back to you, Matt.
Excellent. I have kind of joined the for my YouTube crowd the DC Black Label train. And I have to honestly say, um, from my two samplings here that I have,
Did one of those say
I am,
grandpa?
yeah. So I picked up one, or it's not done yet. I don't even know if it's actually finished yet. I've got the first two books of a Batman called Gargoyle of Gotham by Rafael Grandpa. Um, he's, I believe, a Spanish artist that used to work with Warren Ellis. I really like this style in the books he was doing with Warren Ellis, and then he's changed it up, and it's absolutely gorgeous in this beautiful, beautiful artwork. Fantastic read. He writes it, and as they like to say, he writes and directs. So he does a big heavy lifting in this with this story, and it's young Bruce Wayne. So he's definitely drawing on some of the fact from the Batman movie. Like there's a lot of stuff he's still working out.
The
There's,
Pattinson one.
the Pattinson one, yes. So you're talking about like a lot of like he's still working through gadgets, he's still working through emotions, how to work it. He's talking about like just killing off Bruce Wayne and becoming Batman full time. If you've seen the Pattinson one, I believe that was talked about as well in that. And just to even show, like he is drawing heavily from Pattinson, I want to say bat suit design wise. I'm trying to find a good full picture shot of it so you guys can see. There we go. See if I can get this in the light.
Yeah, I can see like the symbol and
Yeah, the symbols, and it's very grounded as far as like his
are
look.
those like leg
And
armor attached by straps?
yeah, so it's like a separate thing, like very motorcycle-y in some ways.
Interesting.
Um,
By the way,
there.
not to bring it back a step, what is DC Black Label?
So DC Black Label, from what I can gather here, is there's writers and artists that are being able to tell stories without the comic code, even though they've been doing that for years, but really kind of like pulling it back as far as, just going overboard with either artwork or language or just really subject matter kind of situation. They're really trying to say like these books are um really super for adults
So
as
they're
far as like
hard
superhero
R,
works.
like a rated
Yeah,
R,
definitely I would say like a hard R. I'm
and
trying to
off
find
continuity.
and that's some of what I wanted to come into play with on this is that from what I can see, here we go. So here's a good picture. I'll bring it up to the camera. He's drawing on like the Pattinson. That's Bruce Wayne. Like you can really see like that's kind of Pattinson-esque,
Yeah.
the way he's drawn him. Um, so this book is definitely taking the Batman book is definitely taking place in a young Bruce Wayne's life, but is this part of the overall continuity? Is this a what if? I am not sure. Only because while I highly recommend this Black Label book, the one that kind of left me cold, which is sad, it really is the book called Waller versus Wildstorm. Even going with the old school 90s kind of cover with this.
Wow.
And uh this is a situation where like I feel like DC Black Label's going all over. Like the Batman book is a standard size comic book, but it's in what we used to call prestige format, a little thicker, a little bit nicer paper kind of situation. These Waller versus Wildstorm ones are again in prestige format per se, but they're bigger. They're so much bigger. They're almost like magazine style. They're like European magazine style. Like here's a size comparison.
Oh. Oh wow.
Yeah, huge,
So you can't
huge.
bag and board them.
No,
You
you
got to
can't
throw them on a
standard bag and board
bookshelf.
these guys. Right. Now, uh, the positives to it being this size is you have tons of room for art to breathe, really, allow some nice in-depth storytelling with art direction, get a lot more exposition going on with the panels. Um, but my failing with the Waller versus Wildstorm is, again, being a 90s comic baby, Wildstorm is what I grew up in, early image comics, stuff that we were embedded in growing up, Gen 13, all these things like that. I don't know where this takes place. I honest to God do not, and they're
Amanda Waller's
throwing
in
out
it though.
Amanda Waller's in it. And this is like the whole 4 issue run here is kind of like this weird, her rise through the ranks of Checkmate to be where she is. But again, is this official DC continuity? Is this, just kind of like a one-off offshoot kind of situation? And they're really trying to shoehorn in some things in here that I did not like. You Wildstorm's covert team 7 was a big thing going through that whole line, where you had a bunch of origins from some of their flagship characters dated back to that team. And they make reference to that team in this book with their modern day powers. So you have Dane from Wetworks with the gold suit looking like he's in the Vietnam era, with Grifter from the Wildcats and like all these other things. And then I'm like, okay, they're kind of representing those guys. And then out of nowhere, they just shoehorned in Deathstroke, looking like Deathstroke to be like, he was there too, part of the team. It's like,
And I'm here too.
yeah, just wait a minute.
To be fair, Deathstroke would kind of fit it.
He would. Now, granted, if they would have like made it look like Team 7, like they were part of a military unit when they were a military unit in old school Image comics, and said, here's Slade with an eye patch, but he doesn't have the uniform, I would have bought that. But you're throwing in too many different things into here. Now, all of this takes place on the plus side. Again, Art Bree is good. If this would have been written by Greg Rucka, oh my Lord, it would have been so much better, because he tells such a really good just spy story, and he handled the Checkmate comic book that me and Kyle used to pick up back in the day, brilliantly, until they dropped the ball in those last 2 issues or whatever it was to try and wrap that series up.
Who's writing this
I
one?
think this one is written by, I just knocked over something. What is knocked over? I knocked over the Wolfman. I apologize. Spencer Ackerman and Evan Narcisi. So you got 2 writers in this.
And they can't hold Greg Rucka's jockstrap.
No, not at all. In fact, actually, the entire first issue, while it's laced with some flashbacks, is basically just the entire first issue is mostly Jackson King from Wildstorm, or from Stormwatch, having a interview with Lois Lane off the books, trying to bring up like, hey, they're doing shady business. He's trying to be like a low-key informant, and he's setting up all of this stuff, and it's just boring. It's just so boring. And I know exposition you need it, but in this case, it was not done in a very good way, because honestly, the crux of the whole book just feels like, at least in that first issue, just to set up and get away with the fact that Black Label is having Jackson King at the end of it, after Lois Lane questions him on some things like, why didn't you know about this? You're supposed to be this and this. And he gets up angrily from the table, Jackson King, and he turns around, you know what, Lois Lane? Fuck you. And I'm like, that's it? Like, this feels like you built up this whole thing so that the first book could be like, somebody told F you off to Lois Lane, and we could say it. We didn't have to blur it out. We could just
13-year-old you would be so excited.
Right. But 42-year-old me is looking at this going like, that
If you're going to build
that
up
was
to a
kind of
good
a
fuck you want to really have reasoning behind it. Just you really
you
want
know
it to just land.
right. And like, it really did feel like a little bit of a letdown. Now, I will say, optics wise, like issues 2 and 3 cover artwork had a really fun, like 70s spy kind of feel going for them. Like,
Yeah.
really kind of cool, and I purposely chose that dichotomy so that issues 1 and 4, they went for the old school Image style cover, man. Like,
Oh yeah.
big colors, that looks just like straight out the 90s. Like,
let's jam as many people on this cover as possible.
Oh, for
Have
sure.
them all look off to the
For
middle distance and be firing everything all at
for
once.
sure. But I mean, like,
The way all teams should.
it's again like the whole story arc is just these flashbacks of like showing Waller rise through them, just cramming as many Wildstorm references for like shadowy government stuff in there, and just being like, hey, look, all you 90s kids, here's something to appease, and we're gonna be edgy and kill off some people. And it's just like, you could have done better. You could have done a lot better. Like, and I don't know where this falls. So I am left with this meh kind of a feeling for this Black Label line, where it's like there are things that are working for it, and then there are things that I'm just like, you guys just, that you're building up so like you can what, not blur out the swears, maybe draw a couple more things, more graphic violence. But I mean, you get away with so much already in comics. Like, if this line would have come out in early 2000s, I would have said this is a revelation in some respect. Not so much now.
We've seen
I
too
think
much.
yeah, I
We've
think
seen-
DC, I mean, between the boys and everything else, coming out, and so many other comics that have come and kind of picked apart superheroes on some levels, like this just
The
feels
Pro.
like
Invincible.
even beyond the Pro and events. I mean, like all of that. It's just all of that in comparison to this, like this just feels like too little, too late. Like you're just trying to, use properties that you can try and do. Now, if you were to pitch to me that the Black Label is just a super edgy what if stories, I could buy that. But again, are we in continuity? Are we in not? I'm just left with a meh feeling of it. So
Like anything else, if the fans don't show up, it was all in Elseworlds, and we'll blame it on Mo.
yeah, I mean, I am looking forward to
Oh.
seeing if I can find the rest of the Gargoyle of Gotham storyline. Again, good writing. Uh, even if it's not canon, it's just a really good early Batman story. I would highly advise people go pick it up. Good writing, beautiful artwork, great sense of action and timing and pace. But is it canon? Is it not? Is it just a Batman story? I don't know.
I think you've said your
So
piece.
there's my rant.
Matt Wright, Black Label, gray opinion. On that note,
Pretty much.
let us end with the remainder of the Ask Unshaven questions that we received last time we did this. There were so many we had to cut it off, so we're going to pick up where we left off. Josh Wellington asks, what if Kate Moss was the cake boss?
They would have a killer logo for the show.
Yeah,
Somebody with just even moderate graphic design ability would be able to turn that into Kate Moss is Cake Boss. There's got to be a great way to put that in a logo.
Who's
sure.
Kate Moss?
I
I'm
don't
brain
rem-
farting on who's Kate Moss is.
I think she's an actress.
Yeah.
I don't know. And my opinion of the cake boss is pretty low. So the dude has vending machines for $9 pieces of dry cake. No thanks.
Ooh, he gets the old double guns.
Kinda, sorta. All right, moving on. Melinda Rose's son Caden asks, what is the best type of sandwich?
Like individually for us or like ever? So I'm not
I
sure we're the
mean-
right people to answer that question.
I mean, he's simply phrasing it. We have to take with it what we will. And what is the best type of sandwich? You could
And then in a larger scope, I'm going to say one that would please the person eating its flavor, texture, or consistency, or crunch versus softness, whatever the proper terminology for that is, and temperature. So
you're really just putting the onus on the eater.
yeah, I
But
mean,
let's say for you, Kyle, what is the best sandwich for Kyle?
see, again, this is going to be remember the unpalette.
I know.
So
We're
mean,
building layers
look,
here. We're starting
look,
you at
look,
the basement.
if I'm
look
gonna
at him
say,
going into politics, dancing around that.
yeah. For me, it's just a club sandwich. It's turkey, cheese, lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise, bacon, good, but not essential. So a nice turkey club, bacon if you must.
I thought
That's
bacon has to be in a club sandwich. Are you talking about you want a middle piece of bread?
yeah. Well, no, even just a good turkey sandwich. You can up
Okay,
it to
because
club, but
yeah,
I'm happy with the turkey sandwich.
got it. Hot or cold?
Turkey sandwich, probably gonna go cold, honestly.
Generic white bread?
We can do wheat.
Ooh, fancy pants. All right. I will say without pause, a Philly cheesesteak. For me, that is my favorite type of sandwich. The crusty bread, the hot steak, the melted cheese, the onions, a little bit of mayo. I'm good to go. And for those of our fans and the folks who have opinions about Philly cheesesteak, provolone, not cheese whiz. Cheese whiz is disgusting.
uh, ew, so many sandwiches, so little time. I would say honestly, if I had my choice of ingredients, a good Roma sandwich, good couple slices prosciutto, get some fresh mozzarella, some tomatoes, some basil in there on a nice crusty piece of Italian bread, wrapped up in a and thrown into the fridge for about a couple hours so the bread gets nice and soaked, and then so it's a little easier to bite into. But damn, if that's not good.
I would not have pegged that for you. So interesting. There you go,
Mr.
Caden.
Fancy with his basil.
I will also take a roast beef cheddar on a sub sandwich with a good strong horseradish.
Pit beef is hard to argue with.
Oh yeah.
We'll try that there too. Well, thank you very much, Caden. I love a good sandwich. Let's see. Brenda Tannehill asks, what Comic-Con have you not been to that you'd like to go to?
There's a couple. I would say the one to just even if it's once, just to say it and get it out of the system is always San Diego. Just one and done. But Emerald City, I'd love to do. Is that Seattle or Portland? I forget. I
I
think
think
that's
it's
Seattle.
Seattle.
Emerald City, I would love to go there.
I'm kind of in the same boat. Kyle?
I was gonna say Emerald City, but Matt decided to do two and took mine. So
Way
Sorry.
to go, Matt. Yeah, I kind of, Brenda, the thing is, I think we all kind of agree about those things because we've pretty much hit any show that we can get to. Really, the only shows in which we couldn't get to right now are Florida SuperCon, because that's in Miami. And to be honest, I could care less if the entire state of Florida floated away into the ocean. No need to go there. New Orleans, we tried to get into this year.
Yeah,
but
New Orleans would have been fun.
would have been fun, but they didn't pick us yet. So
I wouldn't mind a Texas one. No,
I
more
wouldn't
for
mind
the
a Texas
more
one.
for the barbecue than
Yeah. But yeah, so there you go. Like that's kind of it. And I said we're even in Canada now, so hard to argue.
Well, there's what's the one? Angeline or something? I'm
You know what
butchering
I'd
that
like to
name. The
go?
one in France, I believe.
No, I'd like to go that one we found that was on a tropical island that we briefly looked at and said that we could actually do a hotel stay in. So it's where were we looking at? It was in the
BermudaCon.
Caribbean.
Yeah.
We were looking at
BahamaCon.
conventions. Short version. There was an opportunity, there was a brief window where we had a small chance that we could have wrapped up a luxury hotel stay into a convention, and we didn't make it work because it truly never had any real shot at working. But if we could have, that would have been beautiful. We were this close. It would have been, yeah.
It is what it is.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm not mad, but it's like,
no.
If you want to know a show I wish we could have gone to, one on an island that is virtually paradise would work for me too.
And sure, while we're dreaming, if London has a Comic-Con, I would love to go.
Oh, I'm sure they do.
London, Hawaii.
Hawaii would be nice
too.
All right. Elliot Serrano asks the question everyone is asking: when am I going to be a guest on the show? Elliot, you'll be on the next one. Mark my words. Okay. Brandon Wenzel wraps us up with a set of 5. Favorite 1980s horror flick?
Oh,
Halloween 3, when they weren't following Michael Myers, because that guy's had enough movies. So
ah,
Halloween season 3, it is bonkers. Sorry, Halloween 3, Season of the Witch, is bonkers. I mean, the villainous plot of the bad guys, the henchmen being just seemingly like normal people, but when they get shot are just full of gears and circuitry with no explanation. Well, very little clear explanation. It's the movie is just weird. So that that is my favorite. I don't know if it still counts as a horror movie, but it's a Halloween movie, so I'm going to say yes.
I'll throw 2. I'll say a serious air quotes one that truly scares the crap out of me, Pet Cemetery, and one that's not scary at all, but is just so 80s it works. I believe it's called Christine. Is that
oh,
one where the
Oh,
the
with the
car
car?
is
yeah,
evil?
it's the car. The
Yeah,
car comes alive.
those are both Stephen King
Yes.
based movies. Yeah.
And Christine's hilarious to me that the car's evil.
Oh my god.
And
Uh,
always plays rock and roll.
I know.
there's so many.
I
That
know Matt's
hurts.
sitting here like racking his brain.
Dude, like I'm married to a horror freaking.
Right, but the Nerf guns
It-
to your head. What is your favorite 80s?
just say Friday the 13th, man.
No, I like Friday the 13th, but the first Friday the 13th is actually, um, it. You have Jason come in at the end. He doesn't really take center stage until the second movie. I would honestly say, yeah, it gets a laugh years later, but you can make an honest case to say Evil Dead was a good 80s uh horror movie. And then there was the movie House, and then Fright Night. Fright Night is a severely underrated vampire movie, as well as
The original, not the remake with Colin Farrell.
no, the original one, the very original one. And then there was
Couldn't pick one, and now he's got 5.
One
I
spitting.
just I Once Bitten is hilarious. It's just
Great.
too funny. Um, Near Dark.
Near Dark.
Near Dark is uh Near Dark is a very good underrated 80s vampire movie. And I believe to go sci-fi just to round it out, Aliens.
There we go.
That's not a horror
Overzealous.
movie, it's an action movie.
The first one
There's
is
your
a horror
debate.
movie.
There's your debate,
well,
kids.
that's
Two is an
Alien,
action.
and you clearly said Aliens.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He meant the first.
Alien.
He said the first one. He
I
just
meant
said the title
Alien.
wrong. Okay.
Sorry.
Next one up here. Will there ever be a Samurnauts Go style issue in the style of Teen Titans Go? We've never talked about that, Brandon, but I'll be dead honest. I would love to do that.
I don't know.
I would love
be
to
like
do
an
that.
Yeah. You
I
could
think
fit that into an anthology kind of thing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I think what I did a one-off image of like the little knots. You could translate the little knots into doing something like that. I don't know, but
That would be fun. Here we go. If you could resurrect one classic Cartoon Network cartoon, which would it be?
I mean, a bunch of them have come back multiple times. Like Powerpuff Girls just won't stay down.
Right.
Right.
Can I
I
just
had a
take an
soft spot
audible
for-
and yeah, go ahead.
Hmm? I have a soft spot for Dexter's Lab.
That's the
But-
only one I could think of. I love that show.
Dexter's Lab is solid.
Well, there's of that sort of like time and age. We had
Right.
those two. We had
Yeah.
Courage the Cowardly Dog was kind of that same time frame. Ed, and Eddie is a big one, but I think
Never
I was
liked it.
just a little too old for that one. I think I kind of missed the boat on Ed, and Eddie.
Honestly, I think Dexter wins it.
Dexter kind of wins, but if I can call an audible, can we go to Adult Swim and just bring back Harvey Birdman? Please.
Oof. I would
Meh.
love that.
Please. Love it.
Oh,
Okay.
I liked it enough, but I feel like they did all they. I think they said all they had to.
They probably did.
I mean, they brought it back a little bit with like Hawk Girl, but
Yeah. Okay. Any possibility for a pulp style Samurnauts storyline?
We keep getting enough of them out, and yeah, but I mean, we'll probably
Yes,
be in our
eventually.
80s.
Yeah. Man, howdy. And his last question, the last question to wrap us
Depends on
up.
how violent we want to make that pulp one. But anyway,
Yeah. Your favorite food for a cold winter night?
Mine's gonna be really pathetic. Uh, a warmed up can of beef vegetable soup and a turkey sandwich.
My
What?
favorite food on a cold winter night is the dead carcass of Kyle Nepper. No, okay, I'll try to up that up a bit. I'll say for a cold winter night, I'm going straight to lasagna. Just a hearty, baked, crispy top lasagna. And I suppose if you got to have something with it, give me a side salad with old school Chicago style cream garlic dressing.
Nice.
I would either go um not not particularly homemade, as we like to say here in the Midwest, um doctored up, quote unquote, homemade ramen, you know, not just going beyond the seasoning packet. If not that, if I have the ingredients, which I actually just made it the other night, which would be just kind of homemade fried rice, got some leftover Chinese rice and throw a couple veggies and maybe some leftover meat if you got some from another night, and just bing bang boom.
I got to take you to 88 Marketplace, my friend.
You know what I haven't been to in a long time is the Japanese market up in, I think it's Algonquin
Oh,
or
that's way up
Arlington.
there.
Arlington.
Arlington.
Dude.
It's way up
Oh,
there.
dude, I haven't been up there in a while. And I know Brandon's gonna love the fact that I referenced that because he goes up there.
I know.
So
By the way, for folks on the YouTube, your Easter egg, that black box behind me is where all of the goodies that we got from 88 Marketplace live. And it's locked because some of us have children with sticky fingers. Most hilariously, by the way, Mara, my daughter, has already figured out what's in that box. And every evening she casually strolls up to it, comes up to me. She's like, Dad, why is it? Like, just the implication, like, how about we take a. She grabs my hand and she, like, leads me to the box. She's like, what could ever be in here, Father? Let's explore it together.
Why don't you open it? Let's
Let's
find out what's
let's find
inside.
out. And then I said, well,
Why
no, it's
must
okay.
you turn this house into a house of lies? You
Yeah, I
know
think
there's snacks in there.
tonight she wanted some cereal after the kitchen had closed, and Kathy told her as much. So she came into my office, stood at the front of the kitchen door, and just went, huh, huh. Like, can't you see I'm being sad over here, Dad? And I turned to her and I said, Mara, I can't disagree with your mother. And she looked at me just walked off.
You used to be the
You
good
will
one.
rue the day.
I'd like to point out I only got 2 hugs this week when it was time for nighttime. So bittersweet.
Mm.
All right. I think that's going to do it for us this week. Thank you, everyone, for listening to the Unshaven Rant-Cast. I have been your host, Mark Allen Fishman, joined by Matt Wright.
Hey.
And Turkey Sandwich.
I was going to say, looking at it, there is a Honolulu con in September when we were talking about Hawaiian conventions we'd like to go to, but we'll talk more later.
I mean, after we hit
say less.
After we stop the recording, we can start talking about it.
Okay.
So be sure to like our Facebook and our Instagram page. Leave a 5-star review on whatever app you found this podcast on. By the way, I Google searched the Unshaven Rant-Cast, and it's a little crazy how many podcast sites are just stealing it from Spotify and putting us into their own thing.
Or they're just adding us for free content they can steal.
Guess so. So wherever you're hearing us, please give us a 5-star review.
Numbers game.
We'll try this one time here. And as always, stay unshaven.
Stay unshaven.
I didn't even do it that time, so
I
you
know, you
cannot
didn't even
blame
try.
me. It's
I
you
can't-
two. It's
Hey,
you
you
two.
know what? No, we sounded pretty good. It wasn't too bad.
There was like a 5-second goal between there. It's pretty
Here,
awful.
Matt,
Except
Matt, you
no.
Matt, you hold
I
this
went
time.
out with the out breath just as you did. I didn't hear no like stay on shit.
No, we're gonna settle this now by setting it up in pairs. Matt, you already went. You hold on. Mark, set it up.
And as always, stay
Stay
unshaven.
unshaven. That was a match. That was a match.
No,
Okay.
Kyle was delayed. Kyle, you were like a second and a half off.
I was
We'll never get
80%
it.
or better overlay.
Like, I think what we need to do is each say it, and then I'm just gonna I'm gonna spend time splicing it
Chimera, this
perfectly,
ugly piece of shit together.
add echo and effects and
We're just gonna
lasers.
record it on one mic the next time we all go to a show, and we're just gonna use that every time.
We kind of have to. When we go to Indy, we'll bring a mic. We'll figure it out.
God.
Okay.
What else will we do? That's it, guys.
You know what this
In
feels
some
like? This
stranger's
feels like
apartment.
what
It's
is
actually
what's
it's
the-
not
what's
even
the-
an
what's the
apartment.
golden
He
drag-
uses it only as a B2B. I'm gonna hit
What's-
stop.
what's
We
the-
can keep
what's-
talking.
what's the golden dragon from